I'm having an exceptionally productive day today. And I'm not here just to brag, although I do feel quite proud of myself. But I want to talk about the difference between days where I am completely productive, where I'm effective, where I feel really great about how I work, and days where I maybe feel less great about how things turn out. And what's interesting is that the biggest difference really has nothing to do with the day itself. It all starts with what I do the previous night before I leave the office. Now, I had a day last week that was less than optimal. And when I think about that day, and specifically when I think about the evening before that day, I had to leave the office in a bit of a rush. It was unexpected, so I essentially just shut everything down and left. And when I got back the next morning, I walked into a desk space, a workspace that was probably only about 80% optimized. I had, yes, created my plan for the week. I knew what my key focuses were. I had all that stuff in place, but I also had an inbox that was more full than I would like. I had some scratched notes in my notepad that I hadn't really decided how I was going to deal with. I had a desk that was a little bit messed up. There were bits and pieces here and there. And frankly, that's how my day felt, a little bit messed up. I didn't feel extremely focused. I was much more reactive than I usually am. Kind of just bounced from task to task and tried to keep up from beginning of day till end of day. And at the end, I certainly didn't feel like I had accomplished everything that I could have. Now, if I compare that with today, which has been a banner day, and look at what I did yesterday before I left, well, you know what? I took between 15 and 20 minutes and I did my normal end of day process. So for me, what does that look like? Well, that means that I clean out my inbox. That means that I make sure that any notes I'd scratched on Post-its during the day are filed where they need to be or put into my to-do app. I had completely cleaned off my desk. The only thing that was on my desk were the materials that I needed for the thing I was working on first thing today. And when I walked in this morning, I could take just a nice breath, sit down, and start. Because I wasn't concerned that there was something buried in my inbox. I wasn't faced with bits and pieces of priorities everywhere, kind of staring me in the face and ready to distract me. I was able to just jump right in and get it done. And what's interesting is when I work with clients, they all end up building this end of day process, but they're all different in some way or another. And your process won't be the same as mine, nor should it be. So I'm curious to know if you have a process that you go through to make sure that your next day is really effective. What does that look like? And if you don't have one, what's the one thing that you could do just a little bit differently to set yourself up for success?